This is Poppy, and this is Dragon Quest Poppy, and this is a super late review to Dragon Quest Treasures, but I don't care. I want to review it anyways. So let's just get right into it. First things first, let's talk about the story. So basically, the Vikings that you live with caught two mysterious creatures, a cat and a pig with wings. Eric and Mia sneak out while the Vikings were partying and looking at nudie mags. Rab would be proud. You successfully sneak out and help these mysterious creatures escape, and they whisk you away to some strange world. And they ask you to find the 7 Dragon Balls on their behalf. Yeah, I just had to do that joke. I'm sorry. It was too easy, and I had to. I'm sorry, okay? On the way through your journey, you'll meet different characters and monsters. Some are good and some are bad, and some just make me laugh. Like Mogsworth and Shady, for example. Freaking love these characters, bro. The story is kind of predictable, but still good. Took me a little over 20 hours to complete the main story. It wasn't too difficult. Great story.
Okay.
Next section is treasure collecting. Collecting treasure is the name of the game. Holding L and pressing B activates your skill to be able to have a compass appear below you that points you to where the treasure is. When you get close enough, you will need to rely on your monster's visions to find the exact spot it's at. I particularly love the difference between each monster's visions depending on the monsters that you have in your party. For example, the Shade, everything is in black and white. If you have one of the Hades Condors, for example, his vision is from the sky, which makes sense, obviously. The slimes are really up and close to the actual treasure, so it's great. I love how it differentiates with the monsters. It kind of gives them a little bit more personality, so it's fantastic. Speaking of monsters, monster recruiting is another super important and fun feature in the game. As you explore the different areas of the world, you're consistently finding ingredients and food, which are all used to recruit monsters. After you defeat monsters out in the different areas, they may or may not want to join you, but if you want to officially recruit them, you will need to make sure to have the exact ingredients or food they want. There are also better variations of the same monsters that have more moves or abilities, and these monsters require more ingredients or food, so exploring is very important in this game, as it always is in every Dragon Quest game. It's just how it is. Combat and gameplay. Combat is basic, and the best way to actually deal out damage is by using your monsters, and especially their special attacks, which deal out a lot of damage. The special attacks are actually really cool and powerful. You can use these special attacks as your gauge fills up through normal combat. The catapult, or slingshot, is your main weapon. It's definitely a bit tough to use at first, but after you practice with it, you'll get the hang of using it as you keep playing. And trust me, you will definitely want to use or at least understand how to use the catapult, because it is definitely going to be your main form of attacking weak spots on specific monsters, or for bosses, or you're going to find out very quickly that using pellets, especially to heal your monsters or buff them or debuff monsters, is going to help you a ton to get through the later parts of the game. Features of the game. So you have a main base with our main, man of the hour, Houston, where you will return to after you find treasure out in the world, and this base has a bunch of different features too. You can put your favorite treasure on display, which is really fun. One of my favorite treasures that I have on display is my crystal horse manure, which is obviously fantastic, and it's worth surprisingly a lot of money. You can go online and see other people's treasures, which is also cool. You can hide your own treasure out in the world, and people online can find it, and if they do, they receive a replica of the treasure you hid, which doesn't increase the value of their vault, but you can sell these replicas for a lot of money, so they are very useful. They have their use. Some of the other features are locked behind quests you need to complete. You'll definitely want to do these because after you do these quests, help you with recruiting monsters. These features include a canteen where you can buy or make recipes that monsters require for you to recruit them. There's a smith, which is called the works, where you can buy or make different kinds of pellets with different spells or elements imbued in them, or buffs or debuffs. Again, extremely useful. And lastly, the shop, where you can buy useful items and buy more recipes to make even more meals and pellets. The shop is also where you sell your replicas, so you definitely want to do that as well. Besides all of these features, you've also got the Snarl, which is basically like a wave-based fighting gauntlet. After you finish all the waves in one of the floors of the Snarl, you will win prizes that help you out with your main quests and side quests. The game has a lot of different things to keep you occupied. Other cool features as well is kind of like the variation of the different fortes of the monsters, which kind of act like HMs in Pokemon. If you want to fly, you need a monster that knows how to glide, right? You can use the Saber Cat to sprint, and so you've got all these different features, but they're locked behind, you know, your monster buddies. So that's another thing. So pros and cons of the game. Pros, let's start with the pros. For me personally, the game is just fun. It's just a fun game. You know, you'll have a lot of fun with it. It's a good time. You'll lose track.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine. You just can't get into it.
Track of time as well, just because of how much fun it is. Addicting. It's actually addicting to find treasures, especially if you're a Dragon Quest fan. All the treasures that you find are all part of all the mainline Dragon Quest games and even spin-off games. And so if you're a fan of Dragon Quest, there is definitely a lot for you in this game. I really, really love the new characters and monsters that are introduced in this game. Mogsworth, Shady, Captain Levanter, and especially baby girl princess Anamemememema, whatever her name is.
Oh, what's up, mommy? How you doing, baby? How you doing, mommy? Yeah, why don't you join us, baby girl?
Boy, is she a cutie. I also love some of the new music, especially with the rival gangs.
Oh, this song is dope. Dude, this song is cool.
That song is my favorite song. I love it. And then this game is really, really good for kids. So if you've got a young one and you know they're just getting into gaming, you know, this is a perfect game for them. All the monsters are really fun and very charismatic. You know, you playing as kids also is very fun for them. My 3-year-old sees while I play as Eric, he says, "Oh, that's me, that's me." And I'm like, "Yep, that's you." And yeah, it's a perfect game for kids. It's a perfect game for Dragon Quest fans and for kids, I would say. Cons, so the graphics are pretty dang basic, to be honest. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it almost feels like this game could have been a mobile game. I feel like that might have actually been maybe a plan of the developers at one point, because it's kind of crazy how basic everything is. Performance-wise, it's not the best. There are some times where I see like grainy details, you know, popping in from far away, or I've had moments where it just kind of like jumps a little bit, you know, the game or whatever. You know, it hasn't been game-breaking or anything, but I do have to mention that it does have some performance issues. And then I know this is a pretty big negative in the community especially, but they do reuse a lot of the monsters and enemies.
Oh, more of them. Jeez, bro.
But that's basically because of the limited number of monsters in the game. There's countless times where I would find like a a treasure marks the spot out in the world, which leads me to a portal, which is basically kind of like a mini Snarls missions, gauntlet event sort of thing. And I feel like literally every wave has the same monsters, and so it's kind of like I just fought these guys, sort of thing. So it does kind of suck, but it is understandable with the limited amount of monsters that are in the game, which that's a problem on its own, obviously. So hopefully next time around, if there is Dragon Quest Treasures 2, they can kind of fix that and add more monsters. Overall, I have my own specific grading system that I came up with for this first review video of a Dragon Quest game, and it's this simple. It's just 1 out of 3. So it's either a metal slime, a liquid metal slime, or a metal king slime. So 1 being the worst and 3 being the best. This game I give a liquid metal slime, so basically a 2 out of 3. So it's a good game. It's fun. I very much enjoy it. It's fantastic. It's addicting, especially if you're a Dragon Quest fan. Like I said before, it's great for kids as well. It's a fun game, and I definitely recommend it, especially if you're a Dragon Quest fan. But there's definitely some improvements that need to be made. And hopefully, if we do get a second one, we do get better graphics, we do get better performance issues, we do get more monsters added to the game. And so anyway, so that's my overall score. Let me know what you guys think about that. And that's basically it for this review. So make sure to like and subscribe. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you for being patrons. And see you guys next time. Peace. Oh, whoa. Hold on. I just got to tell you about my Patreon real quick. I have a $1 tier called the Tiny Hero tier, which basically is just a little, tip for me as I'm making all this content that I'm creating. Just a little thank you from you guys if you want to support me that way. If you want to do a little bit more, I do have a $5 tier, which is called the Hero tier, which you do get some extra content and videos that you don't get on YouTube / you get better quality videos of. For example, my reactions to the 2020 Dragon Quest Dai anime. You'll be getting those reactions and reviews on my Patreon exclusively. And then you also get way better quality reactions of the Dino Daiboken 1991 videos that I make. On top of that, I'm making my own Dragon Quest manga. It's called Dragon Quest Phoenix. I'll be putting out my first chapter for free, but on my Patreon. But after that, every chapter that releases after that will be on the $5 Hero tier. The manga's not ready yet, but I am still working on the story. I am posting, little doodles of some of the characters every time I can. So check out my Twitter or Instagram if you guys want to see that, project. But anyways, I'd appreciate it so much. Shout out to my patrons that I have right now.